when you work with people, when you talk about this, how do you get people to identify that hope? Because it's very difficult to find it.
Right. I mean, the first thing they have to be aware of, honestly, is having awareness to know that today doesn't have to be tomorrow. You're not going to be
Mm.
where you are right now forever. And you just can't be so caught up and lost in the emotions of where you are. That's really what clouds our moments. It's the emotions of where we are. All of a sudden, we're not able to fully judge and perceive that moment properly because it was so emotional in that moment to where I know it's not always the easiest thing to do to remove emotions from our moments, but it has to happen in order for us to clearly see what's taking place, what's transpiring. And that's where I tell people all the time, look, just take a moment, breathe, and just really ask yourself, why is what's taking place, but without emotion. Don't say, why is this happening to me? Sit back for a moment and say, okay, I wonder why this is actually taking place. It's the same question, but it's asking a different way. And when you are able to remove some emotion from your questions about life, you're able to actually get some clearer answers. And that's what I had to begin to do for myself, was to remove the emotions and say, okay, how can I break this down? How can I filter these moments to actually draw something out? And even beyond that, I had to ask myself, what can I draw out to actually propel me to the other side? What can I use from the darkness, from the dark moments, to actually turn into motivation to propel me beyond this moment that I'm going through?
Wow. Joel, there's so much to unpack in what you just said. The first thing is, if you just say, why is this happening with emotion, it becomes why me? And when you
Right.
remove the emotion, it becomes an objective look at what's happening in your life. I think so. So getting that objectivity is critical, and then using what you've just learned as rocket propellant almost to take you
Mm-hmm.
to that next level.
Yep.
How did you identify that aspect, that took you to that next level, that learning that you got from it?
I learned that from sports, to be honest.
Okay.
To where if I was challenged in the world of sports on the basketball court or running track, then I took that challenge head on. I said, okay, I see that you got the best of me here. Now it's my turn to learn how to level up. It's my turn to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, let's do some self assessment. Here's where I lacked, but here's where I'm going to grow at the same time. And so when it came down to just other sides of life, and I used the same thing to where I may have experienced a dark moment, a disappointment, to where it's like, okay, that got me here. But here's also an area where I can grow. So let me actually use this dark moment against itself to win against that potentially the next time it tries to rear its ugly head. And so, I had a moment to where as a teenager, I tragically lost one of my older brothers. And that was the toughest thing, still one of the toughest things I've ever had to experience. And I said, okay, how can I use this? I had to lean into it. I couldn't run away from it. The moment I leaned into it, I got motivation from it. I started making promises to my brother, like, okay, I'm going to do the things you've been trying to teach me to do this whole time. You've been telling me, hey, get better grades. You've been telling me, go harder on the court so that you can get that scholarship to college. And I began doing that. I began making those promises to him and finding motivation, even through his death, which was a difficult thing to do, but it drove me to say, I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm able to live. I'm going to live this thing to the fullest at this point because tonight isn't promised. So now I'm going to live it up because I see life can be taken. So I was able to find some motivation even by way of death, the darkest of moments. And I just began applying that mentality and that filtering process, to everything. I say, how can I break this thing down to actually take something from it and drive me forward? And it's an amazing thing, amazing tool I've been using, and thank God it's been working.
Fantastic. Yeah, using that as motivation.